welcome you everybody to the Chain Reaction meeting. Thank you for being with us today. We have been starting the 15th of April to have this discussion and confrontation and kind of psychological mentoring and auto-help group. I'm joking, but this is not a joke. I mean, we have been making all this discussion to speak to one each other and to understand what is going on in the world and which kind of solution we are inventing or which challenges we are facing, and to share and to be inspired. This is why we have been discussing together in these 4 months. This meeting has been launched by a group of professionals. We are 6 festival directors that we were already working together in a process that is called Chain Reaction. It's a networking process that we have been starting the beginning of the year 2020 in January, because the idea was to visit other foreign festival and to welcome directors of festival in our national festival and international festival in Italy, to better network and do a lot of things connected with the internationalization of our festival. Then the COVID came and we decided to transform our networking activities in a weekly meeting that have been transformed in 2 weeks, 4 months. And then that will have a stop in August to have a rest and have summer. And then we will be back in September. Who we are and what are we doing together? We are, as I said, 6 festivals in Italy. And I will start from the festival I direct. I'm Cristina Cazzola. The festival I direct is Segni New Generation Festival. That is an annual festival in Mantova, a small city between Milano, like around in the north, Milano, Venezia, Bologna, Verona, Bologna, this area. The festival is normally in November. Then they are not with us because today we know that we are not. Normally, this group of people, this discussion have been done between 30 and 50%. But as you can see, we are starting again. A lot of us are like making the setup of the shows, arranging opening of theaters, because luckily we are starting to do new activities in Italy and in some countries in Europe. So some of us are not here today, even the 6 partners of the project. So I will introduce you Tonio and Raffaello, that are directors of a festival that is Kids Festival, that is in Lecce, in the south of Italy. Last days of the about Christmas holidays, so the end of December and the beginning of January. Then in our timeline and our journey in Italy, we go up again in the north to Bologna, where we have a Visioni Festival that for sure you know, with Bruno Frabetti and Carlotta from La Baracca. They also are not with us today, and they ask us to forgive them because they have the first party in a park to join together the old staff of La Baracca from the first time from after the lockdown. So that was the time of the party, and we said, just have party, keep together, you need your energy to be together to start again to work. So they are also with us today, even if having a party in a park. Then we go to Tuscany, the wonderful Tuscany, near Florence, in Castel Fiorentino. We have another festival that is Teatro fra le Generazioni. It's a national festival that through this project wants to open up to international activities and welcoming other projects. And this is in normally in March. Then we have another festival where, if you want, you can join us on Zoom next 15th of July in Porto Sant'Elpidio, nelle Marche, near the seaside, I Teatri del Mondo, and Lorenzo, that is the director, is not with us today because they're taking care of the huge challenge that is opening a festival in this period, because they are dealing with all the bureaucratic stuff and self-declaration I'm not dangerous because of COVID and all these papers and papers. So they are swimming through papers and signature and documents and bureaucracy. So, but they will overcome, and they will host us with our meeting the 15th of July, sorry, 3 o'clock European time zone. Then, last but not least, we have, where are you? Where, Maria Giulia. Maria Giulia Campioli, introduce yourself, because today I'm speaking too much.
Okay, hello, I'm Maria Giulia Campioli, and I represent Trallallero Festival, which is a small festival that takes place in the first half of October in the northern part of Italy, near Udine, which is a city not so far from Venice. And so I don't know if this year we will be able to have the festival in the complete form, but I hope so. Otherwise, we will do it in a digital way or something, copying Olga, something like that.
Inspiring.
Thank you very much.
Inspiring to Olga, because Maria Giulia is referring to one of the discussions that we have been doing in 2 of our meetings that were on the topic of how digital can be used or can be a challenge, or which kind of format and ideas we can have to embed the digital approach or do on the web instead of live. And Olga, that has prototyped and it's experimenting a kind of digital festival that is called Better Than Us, and she will write you the website in the chat so that you can have it, and you will see the information in our report. So those are 6 festivals. This process of becoming a network, have been created inside within Assitej Italia. So if Jessica wants to tell us something, just to give the floor to Assitej Italia. Jessica, where are you? I can't see you. You were there. I saw your nice picture.
I'm here. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm very sorry, but this morning for me is very difficult. I'm at home in this moment, but with my baby, and I'm not very able, I think, to I fear that I will not follow all the meetings, so I'm very sorry for this. I'm Jessica. I'm in the executive committee of Assitej Italy with Maria Giulia Campioli and Renata. Renata Coluccini has followed all the meetings has Assitej Italy and Maria Giulia. So I have followed everything, but sorry, I'm very sorry. Here
okay.
There is a baby.
We can understand.
And he's
sorry, Jessica.
speaking with me. I'm very
okay.
sorry. Maria Giulia, if you want to say something, maybe it's easier for you. Thank you.
We didn't want to disturb you, Jessica, don't worry. If you need to switch the camera off or to do whatever,
okay. Thank you.
Don't feel sorry for that.
Thank you.
I will listen. Okay.
Okay.
I just saw you, and I just thought that you can maybe have the pleasure to have to share one word. But just to recap this, I'm just spending few minutes more on this because we are a lot of new people in the group, so maybe it's interesting for you to know about the process. We were we started 2 years ago a process in a kind of working group to connect Italian festival. We started to understand which were the common point, to understand how were structured the festival, mapping really in a kind of schematic way our identity to better understand and better know each other. Then we had the chance with a call from the Ministry of Culture to have a small funding to strengthen the international approach of our festival. And we decided to get together and to apply for this funding. And we had the funding to fund our journey visiting other festivals and telling everybody that Italy is a wonderful country where you can visit a lot of international festivals, and to welcome foreign directors and artists and producers to visit our festival, because we feel that sometimes outside of Italy you have information about few festivals that are of course really important, like Visioni Festival that is well known because of the European process that they are leading and because they exist from a long time in the international panorama, but also small festivals that can be really interesting to visit, even if they're not let's say international festival. And we were feeling like that we want to be host and guest of the foreign colleagues, maybe translating or doing a kind of mentoring and taking care to let you discover also shadows of Italy and not the more sparkling situation. Then we had the COVID and we started this discussion. So now we are here. We have been asking ourselves which are the challenges, which are the area of the changement that we are facing, which are the things that we will not do again in a small time as we were doing, and which are the new things that we are doing and we can do. This kind of meeting is one of the new things that we can do. And in those meetings, we have been speaking about the importance of connecting networks. Bebe, with the Amazonas Network, she's a partner of the Chain Reaction Project, this one with those 6 festivals and Assitej Italia. And she really took care and took seriously her role, as she always does. And she did a great job, even in this format of the networking meeting. So she's inviting today 2 guests, and I will let her the floor to introduce them. Thank you.
Just a moment.
Sorry for the long description, but I think that since I see that we are a lot of new person, that can be interesting for you to know something about the format.
Yes, thank you, Christina, for your kind words. You say, you know, if you don't ask me twice to do some connections, that I will just go for it. Yes. So hello, everybody. I'm so happy to see you all here. I prepared a little introduction of our guests. So I would like to introduce our guests today, and I will tell you why I think their experience are interesting to us here. Both of them were established artists, founders and directors of their own companies, award-winning with international trajectory, established work, and both of them decided to step out of their artistic comfort zone to take a leading role in organizations, associations, or institutions that demand from them another set of competences and tools. Both took the leadership in associations that represent our sector, but also outside our direct sector, which open doors to other innovative alliances. So let me do it in a way that I see your faces here, not only reading here. I hate this. I need a larger. how do you call this? Bircham. Okay, so we have from Brazil, Pedro Granato. Pedro Granato is a Brazilian director and dramaturg at the Teatro Pequeno Ato Theater Company. The company's work relies on street theater techniques, creating immersive site-specific experiences for young audiences that have been published in books and awarded critic awards in São Paulo and Prêmio São Paulo. Pedro is at the moment doing an amazing work at the coordination of cultural centers and theaters in the Cultural Secretary of the city of São Paulo. As you all know, São Paulo has big São Paulo, over 20 million inhabitants, so it's like bigger than many or most or all of the Scandinavian countries, for instance, so this means a lot. And he's the former president of the independent theater movement Motim in São Paulo. And we have from Chile, María Sepúlveda, Balabán, my partner in crime. She's founder of La Negra María Teatro. She's an actress and a psychologist with a vast experience in childhood, creative processes of innovation and public policies for children and adolescents. She's also executive director of Corporation Santiago Innova. It's entrepreneurship, innovation, and creativity, and executive director of Fita Chile. She's a founder of TVO Assitej Chile, president from 2016 to 2019, and is based in Santiago de Chile. So I suggest we start giving the word to, can be Pedro. Pedro will speak in English, but Maria, so I will translate to Spanish on the chat. It's Portuñol, it's a Spanish with a good Brazilian flavor. And I will translate, Maria will speak in Spanish. She can express herself much better, and I will translate to English then for her there. So stick to the chat. And
yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Bebe, and thanks for the translation in this fantastic new language that you will use in the chat. For everybody, if you have anything to communicate to us, just use the chat. If it's a question that raising your hand, just write it in block letters if you can, so that we can distinguish it from the translation that Bebe is going to do. And please be aware that we are recording. So if you want to be more makeup, just go and do it quickly. And that we will produce a kind of summary of what we are sharing, and you will be able to read also the summary of the past meeting in English if you want to be updated of about what we have been discussing. So thank you, our guest, and please, we are curious and excited to listen to your adventure. And but no, I know I'm speaking a lot today, but I want to tell you that this fact that Bebe, she chose these two persons that are in this out of the comfort zone approach to life, for me is really important, because this is the feeling and this is the approach we need to face. So thank you. I'm curious to listen to you.
Hello. Yes. Oh, nice to meet you. Hello. Oi. Hola. Many languages mixed. My daughter also will appear sometimes in sound. As we've been told, I'm a director, and in the last years, I worked a lot with young audiences, like you, working with immersive experiences, and I was really in this research of how to get the young generation close to theater. How can I engage them? How can I see new faces on theater, people that are not used to, you're listening to my daughter, yes, that's why I was muted. And so this was like my main research, trying to reach new audiences and to form public theater. So I was president of this independent theater organization, And I was invited at the beginning of the last year to enter to the City Hall municipal secretary. And as my daughter was just born, it was a very crazy moment. But I had to accept because it is such a difficult time for arts and culture in Brazil. And I'm sure you heard a little bit about it. So it was a kind of opportunity to try to change things. And so we really made a lot of good things last year, even with all the situation. We could, how can I say, we doubled or we multiplied by 2 the audiences in theaters and cultural centers in the city. And it was like the biggest moment for audiences in our circuit last year. We made a festival against censorship because we're not really into censorship, but we have this federal government trying to restrict a lot of productions or to take out money from productions. So it was important for the city to get a position and to make it public. So we did it. And with Paideia and São Paulo award, that was an important, a very important award to all the plays made for children, for youth that had several years of work. They had to stop their work last year because of the situation in Brazil, because they were supported by enterprises and governments and other institutions that took out their support. So it was a kind of last year of the award that we're trying also to find a path. And I connected them because Paideia does, as you know, a lot of, from a long time, an international festival, very important, with lots of interesting and important artists and connections. And my feeling was trying to push this into the municipality so that it could grow to the city, not only in the nearby of the amazing place where they stay in the south of São Paulo, but also in the other regions of the city. So we kind of invented the spring for youth and children, like that this year will have to change because of the pandemic's effects. And we are really trying to make it happen in December, Aglaia, so that we can also kind of make a tradition that the city will support their initiative, and also to make it, how I say, bigger and in more points of the city. So as I told, we connected to the São Paulo Award to get all those plays that were awarded by them so that we could hire and they could be in this festival. And then we made a meeting with all those groups that work for children and youth audiences and young audiences, and trying to discuss a little bit about the format. So we had a lot of changes to do this year, good changes, and now we'll have to have more because we will think how far will we be able to go, as the situation in Brazil is difficult, not only with politics and also with the pandemic situation that we didn't control yet. So it's a kind of difficult time to find when will we be able to come back, and when will theaters will be able to reopen, and how will we be able also to bring people to our country. So I don't know, this, please,
Pedro?
Cristina. Yes.
I'm just asking you a question because, of course, you know very well which is the situation in your country, but what we have experienced is that we don't know what's happening in the other countries. So can you tell us precisely where are you now? I mean, are you opening the theater at the moment, or everything is still closed?
So, okay.
Because I know that the feeling is that we are
everybody knows, but no, yeah.
No, because the fact is that we have really different timing in the approach of what is happening. So can be useful to
Yes.
recap us Bebe wants.
Just one, Pedro, if you could
Please.
just tell us how many theaters are you talking about, or how many spaces in the city of São Paulo you direct, you command, or you coordinate,
Okay.
so people can have an idea also.
Okay, so we are working with 19 spaces. It's almost like 7 theaters and 12 cultural centers. In these cultural centers, we have cultural centers that kind of support a region of the city, like the east, the west, the south. And also we have cultural centers that support kind of, I don't know if I know the word in English, but identitary questions, yes? So we had like a identity, yes. That we have those Black culture, cultural center, like for cultures, for Black cultures. And that we only support in all languages, cultures connected to this route. And we just opened in last year, we just started the Cultural Center of Diversity that will focus on human rights and LGBTK, I don't know how to say all those little, but you understand me, like the diversity is very important for us. And so we had this theater that we connected to a public library, and also an exhibition rehearsal space to make this cultural center and to kind of make very clear our direction in the city and to support all diversity of people and behavior. So it's been very interesting, amazing work. Very quickly we had a huge response, and like the theater that was kind of unknown in the city, now it's a very important place, even virtually, growing a lot. In Brazil, we have a situation that people who follow the US is very similar. Like we have this huge country, like with more than 200 million people. Our president is, I believe, maybe the worst president we can all connect, because he denied the importance of the COVID. He just denied, and different from other leaders that denied and then stepped back when they realized they were wrong. He didn't. So he continued to deny even when we had 10,000 deaths, and now we have close to 60. I'm right, Aglaya? Help me. 60,000. 60,000 deaths, and he goes he makes speeches to the audience without mask. He goes to the supermarket or to public spaces, disrespecting this, saying that this is just a little flu, and that people will die, who will die, everybody will die. So it's a huge responsibility that made the problem became huge in Brazil, because I believe as the US, we are like the third wave. So we saw what happened on China, we saw what happened on Europe. So our friends and news started to show how things were bad in Europe. We had time to react and we didn't. For a little change, our governments and city halls mainly made good efforts to step back and tried a lot of quarantine measures. And so I believe this really helped a lot to be not a complete tragedy, because the president was alone in his speech. Nobody followed him. All the governors and city halls, they were saying, no, stop, stay home. They made quarantines. But at the same time, as we cannot really control the situation, it's still rising in Brazil. And Brazil maybe is the first country that's starting to reopen when the cases are still rising, and when we didn't really control the curve. And in São Paulo, we still have the theaters closed, and we are planning, as the city hall to make an invitations to all theaters to make a virtual festival, like for everybody to make things on the theaters without audience. So we, as the city hall, I believe we are the most, I don't know, worried about opening. The state government is starting to open more than I would desire to, and the federal government, forget it. It's like they are just there to anything but help. So I believe this is the situation. Do you have any more curiosity about it? Like
when you speak about digital proposal, do you have a?
It's fresh news. We didn't launch it yet, so I'm telling to this closed forum. It's like what we are going to propose that the city unite in. We will invite theaters to make a programmation from the theater without audience online, and like a kind of a festival that's in lots of theaters, like that the city hall will support, but a kind of putting energy to them to do things online, not like in the theater, but without audience. Because right now, what many people are doing, and we are doing a lot of online shows, for example, but everybody is in their home. Okay, so we as the city hall, like we done, I don't know, we hired more than 1,000 artists in the last times to make things for like more than 500,000 people to see it, but it's only online and everybody in their homes. We are proposing, I believe, for the next month to people to go to theaters following the protocol of like very few people, social distancing, but to have like this different, I believe it's a different experience than to see somebody in their home or to see somebody in the theater.
Okay, so it means that you are opening, letting few people being there, and the same show is going on streaming online, or what are you sending online?
No, without audience, only online. The only difference is that they are not in their home; they are in the stage. Like so you will see live in the stage.
The artists are in the theater.
Yeah, we are developing a protocol that we will start to reopen, I believe, on August or September. Probably. These are all fresh news, and we didn't publish it. Please, people from Brazil, don't push it forward.
It will be spread in Europe, but
don't spread the news, please. It's not official, but we pretend that the crew from the theaters and cultural centers will come back in August, or maybe in September, trying to make some things in the open spaces. And maybe from August, September, start to do this online, continue to do, because we're doing a lot, but to do online from the spaces. That this is different from doing from their homes. So it's like you can do a live, you are the manager of the space, you can introduce someone from the space, or maybe you can even like guest one, you can have one guest there to do on stage alone, and you can film it and put it online, you understand? So we want to start to reopen with only the open spaces, like theaters that are connected to parks. So we will use the park, we will use only open spaces, probably with exhibitions, maybe some workshop that can happen with social distancing, and then we will follow like the protocol that everybody's following. Like, okay, we can now go to this to open the main space, then we can go to the theater without more than 25% of audience in there. Like we will follow very step by step what I believe the most serious protocols are in the world. And I believe like the difference maybe is that we will focus a lot on open spaces activities and online activities from the spaces. That we are already doing a lot of online things, but we will do online things from the spaces also. Like we want to push it forward as an idea.
Okay, and what about until now? I mean, were you at home with no salary, or with how is it that? I mean, these shows that have been canceled, did they have
No.
or how is it going at the moment?
We did three things. We said just when we closed theaters, we made a kind of a new. I will not know the technical names in English, but a kind of a new law that the secretary signed that postponed the contracts for how long it needs to be. They weren't canceled. So it's like, oh, the contract with you, we continue with that, and we will try to manage to make the show as soon as possible. Then we started those shows that could be done online or they could adapt online. We just changed them to an online exhibition. So we had plays or shows that they could do at home, or they could record the band and the singer was live. So we pushed it into online shows. Those who didn't want to do that or didn't feel that they will lose a lot of things, we are with the contract still running, so they can make the show as soon as we open the spaces. And then we started to hire a lot, like in a kind of record velocity and quantity, online shows, individual online shows. So we made, it's like, okay, an actress, it can be a talk, it can be a storytelling, it can be a lecture, it can be a part of the piece. So as I told you, we hired, as the cultural centers, like more than 1,000 artists, but we have also the houses of culture that probably hired another 1,000. We have the public libraries that probably hired another 1,000. We have the main municipal theater, because we have like the huge public library, the huge municipal theater, the huge cultural center, and then we have this three coordinations of cultural centers and theaters that I coordinate, the houses of culture that are more neighbor points through all the city and especially in the periphery of the city, and the public libraries. So as a kind of short take to understand the municipality, it's almost this structure. We just launched a lot of awards and things for people to produce, like awards for research, awards. We just launched a one to spaces, to theaters and cultural centers. It's just an award. You don't have to do anything. You just show that you have a reliable space with a lot of activities, and we will support with you with a little amount of money.
So it's a kind of, in fact, you are supporting with new contract adapted to the situation, those artists to produce something.
A lot.
Okay,
yes.
Because this is important. I mean, I'm asking you because and stressing this point because from what we have seen and we have listened in Europe and in Italy, we have been sharing a lot of content on the digital, people or museum or things like that. They have been putting material on the web so that people can watch that on the web, but not that many have been contractualized. I mean, we were putting our
work for free.
Exactly.
No.
And we were not even asked for that, but just we offered that. So it's interesting that, I mean, you have, of course, a different structure, I mean, from the government and funding structure, but you have been thinking in this three different way to hire people. You're speaking about hiring people, and no one have been thinking about that. We have had the format of postponing things, kind of, but no one have been hired in those 4 months.
Wow,
isn't it?
nobody. And you don't have, like in Italy or other Europe countries, something like the French intermittence, like you have any support for the artists for not at all, nothing.
No, we have
Zero.
like, I don't know the word in English, but this cassa integrazione, I mean, is a state funding that you give to workers when, for example, la fabbrica, you cannot work. But
so you are connected to this general law of workers.
General law.
Yeah,
so
because in Brazil, our president cut us out of it.
Okay.
He said, okay, everybody, but not artists. And now they may, yes. And now, no, he's against art. It's like in culture, it's like against.
Yeah, well, that we can feel.
It's not that he's really against.
Okay, so
but now all
where
the
did you
parties
find
connected.
the money? Where did you find the money to hire all these?
No, because
artists?
the municipality has his own budget, like as the states has and as the federal government has. So we are working for the city of São Paulo.
Okay.
And we, since the beginning that we started, we were always front opposition of it, like frontal opposition for the federal government. But now it's interesting also for you to know that the president just cut the artists from this funding, this emergency funding for all workers that were not hired. But all parties together, they made a law that will support culture right now, and the president just signed it. The only problem is that he signed, and the law said it was the immediate payment to the states and city halls for this law to start, and he cut this part. So he signed it, and we say, oh, okay, we will have this law because it's a lot of money that we can do a lot of emergency acts. But he doesn't say when he will pay. So the problem that city halls and states will have to manage now is like, should we start to do this? And it's a lot of money, but what happens if they don't pay? Because they don't say when they will pay, understand? Because the law was immediate payment for them to start the emergency actions. So this is another kind of situation that the federal government just put it. It's like the very difficult situation, only to conclude for you to understand Brazil. It's like we have a lot of opposition to the federal government, but it's not that they have a bad point of view of culture that we don't agree. It's like they are against, and also they don't do, and they also try people not to do. So like all possible connections that we had from federal government, they were trying to cut, to put problems, not to make it happen. And also one of our first actions that was to, also inspired by Italy scenes, that we proposed like the windows of São Paulo, so that we would hire a lot of people to make performances from their windows and to put it online. But I cannot say conservative because it's worse than conservative, but their allies, they blocked that because they said it's a shame that you want to pay for artists that are doing this for free all over the world. We have to focus on health right now, not culture. And so we were blocked in the law that they put in an action, and we couldn't hire people. So we had to kind of make smaller actions of it, you know. We were doing this huge program connecting all city hall, and we had all to do our little hiring. In scale, we didn't really lose, but we lose time in an emergency, and we also had to face all those judicial problems.
This is really interesting because, I mean, interesting is, of course, you are telling us heavy things, and we are empathizing with you. But what is interesting for me is that in one of the first meeting, we were speaking about the fact that we were asking ourselves if, as artists, it was right or not to give for free our work, because maybe people will not pay again for that later. And we were, one of us, maybe, I think Jessica was stressing also that topic. And the group was feeling something like, oh no, but maybe they will start again to pay. I mean, we were feeling that with like a fragile objection, okay? But it's interesting that we are in a global situation. That means that the impact of our activity for free is on the fact that you, that were hiring artists to do that, you have a government that, on the example of Italy, or they was using that to say, oh no, you should not be paid for that. So in fact, we are connected. This is interesting for me to see. And the fact that we give something for free, and we were feeling solidarity and raising solidarity with that, anyway, has a negative impact.
You know that there is an article that says exactly that. They say that people from culture will regret as the newspaper offering their work for free, like, because later they will try to charge it, and probably they won't be able anymore, as the newspaper kind of like that people could see it online, and now they are trying to put firewall and everything, and it's difficult.
In fact, the second question was that all this production that you are putting online, is it for free? People need to pay to have this, to see that show, and or this performance, or it's for free?
You know, it's for free. You know that in our public system we have two kind of modalities, because as Brazil is very unequal, you have a lot of places where it's very, very difficult for you to charge people to see art, because in the periphery, like, so for you to understand, normally the programmation of the cultural centers are for free, and the theaters, they pay like popular prices that we for example buy the opening of the show for it to have some kind of security, and they do the rest of the season with the tickets, with like almost full reversion of the tickets to the company. So our actions in the online moment are we pay, but it's free for the audience. What we want to do with the festival, that's a kind of idea. So if you want to give any collaboration today, it's wonderful, because we will put it on streets probably this week, is that we want to support people that will start a little season. So it's like, we will buy your presentation in the theater for you to have a kind of starting point, but we ask you not to be a single presentation. You have to do at least 3 weeks of the show. So for example, you can do like only Saturdays, but we want you to do, like, we will buy your first season, or your first show, but we want you to do at least 2 more, charging. Because what I'm proposing, or what I think about the theaters, is that if they don't start to charge for their programmation, it will not, there will not have states to help. Like, we won't be able to, instead of, I don't know, to double or to make it triple, because like we have almost 100 and something equipments, cultural equipments in Sao Paulo. Yeah, she's screaming.
Don't worry. We like,
yeah, perhaps
in our field we like.
I love that you all work with children and youth and young audiences, so it's wonderful. Everybody smiles. You don't have this airplane feeling where there is a child and people is like, oh, no. A child.
We are not in a doctor convention.
No, and it's wonderful for me working in the secretary in this quarantine moment, that this actual secretary has a son with the same age, so many times he's doing like the meeting with his son, and it's wonderful.
I just wanted to add, Pedro, excuse me,
okay.
Just to add, because not everybody knows this, it's that when I came from Germany to Brazil in the 2000, for me it was something impossible to understand, that every time that you get money from the state, or from the whatever, for public money, you need to give a social counterpart, that we call. So you have to do, let's say, if you get Fomento, which is money for the whole year in São Paulo for research, for your language, but you have to have a number of free performances exactly for the access of the population that will never have money to pay for this. So this that he's describing now, for me, makes total sense. The artists are not working for free. They're being paid to work, but the access is open to everybody. So that's the logic. You could argue how much money do we put here in Germany for each seat in the opera houses, and still it's very expensive to have access. So it's this, you know, in Brazil, there is no discussion about that.
But you know, Bebe, I have a problem. I have a question with that, and that's something that we want to put in this festival. For example, we have this kind of, we call here in São Paulo, virada cultural, is a kind of nuit blanche, that is 24-hour event of shows all over the city, blah, blah. And we used to do theater in huge structures. And I thought it awful because they paid more to the stages than to the artists and to the plays, and they made it like in a bad condition. So when I was curator, before I entered the municipality, I suggested that we bought tickets, that we should buy tickets from the plays that were in the city, in seasons in the city. So we could help to audiences to reach those plays that are paid and they couldn't reach. And at the same time, we would use the money with the cultural scene of São Paulo, not creating a new programmation. And I believe something in this festival, I would like to repeat this idea, because the problem, I think, sometimes of putting the obligation of making it for free is that the state kind of make a dumping in the independent theaters, because if you have public support, you can show for free. If you're independent, you have to charge because you need to pay your and so that's why we want to connect this festival with this idea of continuity. So it's like, okay, you will do the opening maybe for free, of course, because maybe openings are for free. It's a kind of normal thing that you invite people, but you need to do 2 more, at least, that you will charge. So we will kind of put publicity onto it. And so if people love the show, okay, you can see next week, but you will have to pay now. And this money will support the theaters. This is money for the independent theaters, you know.
In fact, I was asking to you, what about independent theater? Because when you say we put money, I was like feeling this we can't be the whole part of the country and the whole part representative of the old stage and old scene of theater. So
yes, you have to see that São Paulo, we say it's Belgium. Brazil has 20 some states, and São Paulo is an economy like Belgium. So it's like everything that goes for São Paulo, like a city like São Paulo is extremely rich. Even the garbage in São Paulo is richer than in other regions. So it's the municipality there, of course, has other resources, but it's wonderful to have somebody like Pedro commanding where this money is going to go, which are the programs, that's the right alliances, you know, we have to take over the spaces of decision. So the decisions are made according to what our sector really needs and to what our public really needs. So that's a perfect example.
Okay. I don't know if you have, I was jumping in because I'm just making the connection with also what we have been doing in the past meeting. I don't know, Pedro, if you want to tell us something more, or I can give the floor to Maria, and then we come back with a question to you after flying to Chile.
Let's enjoy Chile.
Okay, let's go for Chile. Welcome, Maria. Tell us, everybody. Tell us everything.
Hola a todos.
Sorry.
Bueno, como decía Bebé, yo voy a hablar en español voy a hablar un poco lento para que los que entienden un poquito de español me puedan entender, y si no, Bebé va a ir apoyando ahí en la traducción.
Perdóname.
Moça, somos todos latinos,
Exato.
italianos, franceses, espanhóis, brasileiros. Faz favor, né? Não me envergüencem.
Okay, let's
No,
do
no, no.
something. Can you please just, sorry, Maria,
Diana.
can you just raise your hand if you don't understand Spanish?
No, María Julia dijo que no entendía español, ¿no?
Maria Giulia?
Un poquito.
Poquito, poquito. Okay.
Un poquito.
Quindi Maria Giulia. Va bene. Bebé,
Bueno, la
translation
Bebé
for Maria
dará
Giulia.
unas claves. Bueno, primero que nada, agradecerle a la Bebé, a Cristina, esta oportunidad de poder conversar, y también agradecer todo lo que acaba de exponer Pedro. Es muy interesante escuchar las visiones, y creo que la gran oportunidad que nos ha dejado esta pandemia es la posibilidad de reconectarnos con nuevos lenguajes, ¿no? Y creo que parte de cuando la Bebé me invitó a esto, pensé en esta frase como título a esta conversación, ¿no? Mía, de decir la reconexión con nuevos lenguajes. Creo que los lenguajes que tenemos hasta ahora son muy buenos, que nosotros como comunidad internacional de artistas escénicos para la infancia y juventud, tenemos nuestro propio lenguaje y nos entendemos, es nuestro idioma pero tenemos que abrirnos a nuevos lenguajes, a conectarnos con otros quienes hablan un idioma diferente a nosotros. Y creo que esa es mi visión desde esta perspectiva de la conversación de hoy. Yo, como decía Bebé, soy actriz, soy psicóloga, tengo un magíster en políticas públicas, en Derecho y Políticas Públicas para la Infancia y Juventud, y como artista tengo una compañía de teatro que hemos ido varias veces al Festival de Aglaya, en Paideia. Conocemos Sao Paulo, estuvimos en el Itaú Cultural el año pasado, muy bello. Y bueno, como creadora, nosotros como compañía, yo diría que quedamos como casi todos, ¿no?, con suspensión de muchas actividades. Nos pasó algo bien particular, que enseguida nos llamaron para transmisiones online, pero yo diría que ha sido un tiempo más bien para conversar entre nosotros, para hacer un trabajo más bien de introspección y aprovechar este momento de calma, de inseguridad laboral, para construirse y reconstruirse por dentro. Así ha sido un poquito la dinámica que nos ha pasado como creadores, como compañía. En términos de creación, hemos ido apostando a postular a cosas para el futuro más que para el presente, y nos hemos centrado en buscar dentro de nosotros y repensarnos dentro más que explotar y hacer mil cosas hacia afuera. Eso por un lado. Desde la parte que me toca a mí y que comparto con Bebé y con la plataforma TVO Assitej Chile, que es FITA Chile, es esta plataforma, este mercado, y ahí nos vamos a un lenguaje muy diferente, ¿no? Que FITA Chile es una feria de artes escénicas para la infancia y juventud, que expone trabajos latinoamericanos para el mundo, y el año pasado, a raíz del estallido social, hicimos una pequeña innovación gracias al apoyo de IPEI y también del Ministerio de Cultura, del Ministerio de Relaciones Exteriores, donde Diego era parte en ese momento, de ProChile, y fuimos a hacer un día Fita Chile en IPEI, que yo diría que era algo nuevo, innovador, novedoso, que se hacía por primera vez y que surgía a través de una crisis. Y bueno, creo que eso es parte de las oportunidades que nos dejan estas crisis, ¿no? El poder de innovar completamente. Y desde mi lado, ahora hace un año me invitaron, cosa que acepté en una locura, de ser parte de una corporación que trabaja con la innovación en nuestro país, desde el emprendimiento, pero desde el emprendimiento y la creatividad, emprendimiento, innovación y creatividad, y que trabaja con fondos internacionales. Y entonces aquí voy con el nuevo lenguaje y esta sensación de que hace rato, desde las artes escénicas, desde mi compañía y desde la gestión y el apoyo a la gestión de la plataforma TVO Assitej Chile, yo me he ido vinculando con otros entes que no tienen que ver necesariamente con el idioma propio. No es el Ministerio de Cultura, no son solamente los teatros, no son solamente, sino que los artistas, los productores, sino son otros ministerios, son el Ministerio de Hacienda, son el Ministerio de Economía, son el Ministerio de Relaciones Exteriores, y desde hace 3 o 4 años yo diría que como compañía primero, y luego con la plataforma TVO Assitej a través de FITA también, empecé a tocar diferentes puertas, uno a uno, buscando el cómo nosotros como artistas también somos, entre comillas, pyme, no sé, como pequeña y mediana empresa. Pequeñas empresas. Entonces, ¿cómo no primero hay el desafío de no perder la creación artística y cultural, que es parte identitaria y el motor y el corazón de lo que hacemos, pero por otro lado, cómo ser reconocidos por todo el ecosistema como trabajadores y como pequeñas empresas que también tienen derecho a exportar, a ser fomentadas productivamente, a encontrar innovación en las distintas plataformas y crear teatro 4D, no sé, estoy inventando, o unir puentes entre países para que no solamente a través de la venta de vino, de fruta, de salmón, salgamos al mundo, que es un poco lo que hace el Ministerio de Relaciones Exteriores, sobre todo a través de ProChile, que es esta dirección de coordinación de relaciones internacionales y de promoción de proyectos nacionales al exterior. Y desde ahí creo que se abre un mundo y un lenguaje nuevo al cual me parece muy interesante que nosotros como artistas escénicos vayamos a tocar, vayamos a mirar, vayamos a indagar y hagamos puentes de conexión que nos permitan ser cada vez, ¿cómo decirlo?, más sustentables, ¿no? Que la sustentabilidad sea parte nuestra. Y creo que es parte un poco de lo que ya se ha hablado y que hablaba Pedro. La realidad en Chile, bueno, o en Latinoamérica yo diría, pero particularmente en Chile, para los artistas ha sido muy cruda con la pandemia. Ya veníamos arrastrando del estallido social muchas dificultades. El estallido social para la gran mayoría de los artistas fue tomado como una bandera de lucha, por tanto todos nos volcamos a trabajar en las calles gratuitamente, y además luego vino la pandemia y como no estamos dentro del listado de las pequeñas, pequeñas y medianas empresas, entramos en las lógicas del Ministerio de Cultura y tampoco del Ministerio del Trabajo y tampoco del Ministerio de Desarrollo Social. Entonces quedamos huérfanos de medidas del Estado que proteja nuestro trabajo. Y bueno, yo siempre digo que nosotros, yo y quizás los muchos que conformamos las distintas redes dentro de nuestro país, estamos muy privilegiados en nuestras situaciones particulares, pero hay artistas y personas más viejas que quedaron completamente sin nada y que están pasando realmente hambre o dificultades extremas. Y eso es absolutamente grave porque no hay nada que los pueda amparar, ni cultura, ni trabajo, ni el Ministerio de Hacienda, ni el Ministerio de Economía, ni el Ministerio de Desarrollo Social. Y yo diría que bueno, que eso es parte de una realidad que nos toca en Latinoamérica muy fuertemente, y es que en estas crisis el hambre aparece para todos los grupos vulnerables, los migrantes, y que nosotros, no me incluyo porque somos, insisto, privilegiados, pero los artistas, muchos están en situación de vulnerabilidad absoluta. Entonces, todos los intentos por subsistir son muy precarios, muy aislados, faltos de una cohesión. Y creo que a muchos de los artistas los ha salvado el tema de hacer clases online, de eso ha ido apoyando su gestión, pero son casos bien aislados. Bueno, volviendo al tema de las redes y de la conexión, creo que esta oportunidad es muy importante justamente por eso. Y ahí quería comentarles algunos proyectos que me parecen interesantes que ustedes conozcan, de los cuales he sido parte y que me ha permitido conectarme con otros establecimientos diferentes. Por ejemplo, el año 2016 fue parte del Circo del Mundo. El Circo del Mundo es es una entidad de circo social formada hace 25 años con apoyo del Cirque du Soleil, y trabaja con jóvenes vulnerables, y yo entré a un proyecto con ellos para poder todas las competencias de empleabilidad laboral, pasarlas a un sistema más bien de competencias psicológicas a través de las dinámicas del circo, y era un proyecto del Banco Interamericano del Desarrollo y FOMIN en ese tiempo, y ahí me tocó como poder mezclar un poco esta primera entidad internacional con la psicología que después siguió como para empresas, y cómo el circo podría involucrarse dentro de empresas y a desarrollar habilidades en las personas que trabajan dentro de las empresas, como por ejemplo el trabajo en equipo, las mismas habilidades que trabajábamos con los jóvenes vulnerables, se trabajaban luego con equipos de gerencias, líderes, diferentes cosas. Y a partir de eso surge la posibilidad de trabajar en un proyecto que se llama City Lab. City Lab es un encuentro de creadores que inspiran a otros creadores o a otras personas en general. Es un encuentro de creatividad y que tiene una patita con la Cámara de Comercio de Santiago. Y la Cámara de Comercio reúne a 6.000 empresas privadas de todo Santiago, en donde está la posibilidad de conectarse con esas empresas, ¿no? Entonces,
Momento.
sí.
Peraí,
Sí.
faz uma pausa.
Perdón, ya, sí, hago pausa.
City Lab é uma colaboração, é um programa de Câmara de Comércio.
Es una colaboración con la Cámara de Comercio, pero la creó George Lever, que es parte de la Cámara de Comercio. Es como su lado B.
Benito, si hai tagliato i capelli.
Ok, you can go on.
Pausa, pausa, così Bebe respira. We welcome Antonio De Nitto, that is the director of one of the festival in the south of Italy, in Lecce, Kids. So now we have a face behind the name of a festival, and he cut his hair.
No, I didn't cut. I just.
Ah, lo tiene tomado.
Okay.
Yes.
Lo tiene tomado.
Tomado.
Okay. Refresh. Okay, let's go for María, this City Lab, when you say cuando habla de encuentro de creadores,
Sí.
¿Cómo se encuentran? ¿Quién hagan?
Es para dar un ejemplo, son pequeños pitch, así como si fuese un TED. ¿Saben los TED? Pero más chiquititos.
Pitches.
Claro, es como un speech, un pitch,
sí.
con pequeños TED entre 10 minutos a 30 minutos, donde algún creativo de diferentes áreas, puede ser arquitectura, artes visuales, artes escénicas, gastronomía, y ahí se incluye todo lo que se llama industria o economía creativa. No sé si han escuchado hablar de esa terminología, imagino que sí.
Italia la tenemos.
Ya.
Però hai un grande discorso sobre cosa è industria creativa e cosa si può essere, che non si capisce, io non comprendo perché tenemos que hacer un discurso sobre esto. Industria creativa. Vabbè, questo es
Lo que pasa es que no todo puede ser industria, y esa es la gran disyuntiva. Y ahí hay ciertas distinciones que uno puede entrar a hacer, ¿no? Pero la economía creativa es justamente algo a lo que han apostado muchos estados para poder revitalizar ciertos procesos productivos, ¿no? Y nosotros somos parte de ese engranaje sin perder nuestro foco como artistas, ¿no? Pero somos parte de ese engranaje. Bueno, volviendo al City Lab, entonces son pitch, la gente prepara y cuenta cómo crea una música, cómo crea una obra de teatro, cómo crea un plato de comida, cómo creó un restaurante, cómo creó una película. Y el público que va es variado, es público general, muchos estudiantes, y también personas de las empresas o personas como que tienen cierta influencia y que pueden conectar en distintas cosas a los artistas o con los artistas. Y ha sido es una plataforma muy interesante. Yo colaboro con ellos igual ahora en esta organización, esta corporación de creatividad e innovación que dirijo. Estamos haciendo algo para fin de año, probablemente los podemos invitar, de este encuentro más, va a ser como tipo blender, así tipo presencial y online, en donde vamos a encontrarnos creativos de distintas... Bebé estuvo en uno, ¿cierto? Sí, Bebé estuvo en uno. Así que es muy interesante porque de alguna manera es un lugar donde se mezcla lo que yo decía, los lenguajes, ¿no? Y donde te encuentras como en otra dimensión, es como que en realidad viajas a China. Viajas a China y no, hay un lenguaje que no entiendes. Y vuelvo ahí a retomar el tema del el mercado. Cuando nosotros nos acercamos a ProChile para pedir ayuda para ir como compañía a IPEI, una de las cosas que nos dijo la persona que nos estaba atendiendo era, si ustedes quieren postular a un fondo para ir o quieren ir a hablar, siempre digan que no van a un festival, no van a un encuentro, no van a una feria, sino que van a un mercado, ¿ya? Entonces, esa distinción del lenguaje, que es muy leve y que uno la puede entender de distintas maneras, pero puede saber cuán útil puede ser para que la contraparte de ProChile pueda entender lo que tú vas a ir a hacer, hace la distinción para que uno pueda ganar un fondo o no, o poder tener el apoyo de ellos o no. Por eso digo que quería pensar en esta conversación como el uso del lenguaje y las oportunidades que nos da abrirnos a nuevos lenguajes. ¿Cristina decía algo?
No, estoy muy... my brain is sparkling because what you are saying about the language, el lenguaje, is the key word for what we have been speaking about, that is the topic of alliances. Because we have been speaking about the fact, just to make a connection with what we have been speaking in the previous meeting, we have been discussing about the fact that this COVID situation is giving us the awareness that we need to reinforce our alliances within other sectors. That is why we invited you, because we know that you have been working on it. And we were like asking ourselves how to do it with each other sector, but you were putting the light on the fact that to create alliances, you need to create a language, lenguaje. Yeah. And this example is something that for me is really strong, because the fact that we speak in different sectors, different languages, to understand each other, we need to speak the same language. And you're right, I'm a good, I am really, come dire, portata, easy, different language speaker, okay? And I am a good seller. So I know very well that to sell something, you need to speak the language of the person you want to sell the thing to. So what you were speaking about, the fact that to not to say to the Chamber of Commerce, I'm going to the festival or to a feria, because they don't know what a feria is. And it's something about what we need to do now. I mean, language is about creating the same boxes and alphabet in the brain of the two persons discussing. So what we are now dealing with in this post-COVID situation is creating new boxes to speak about a new scenario, a new normal. So the center is one of the important keywords, and the center is really the language. So I'm just repeating because you are stressing an important topic, and that for me is like something I pick and I put in my bag. So sometimes, since we are also through different languages, we need to repeat once, or maybe just it's like communication is like a river. Sometimes you need to lay down there and then start again to go. So this is really important. Go ahead, where you want to bring us in your speech.
Bueno, es eso también que dices y que supiste leer muy bien. Nosotros, por ejemplo, en la postulación para fondos dentro de ProChile, tú no llamas a los programadores como programadores, sino que son exportadores, que son capaces de exportar algún servicio que tú puedas ofrecerle, una obra de teatro, un taller, una dramaturgia, etc. Y hay un lenguaje que muchas veces como artistas nos negamos a ocupar.
Los
porque,
mercados, los países mercado, es muy raro.
claro,
Ese
es
como si
raro
fuera vino
porque uno
chileno.
siente como que se está utilizando todo lo que uno hace. Y creo que es parte de lo que como que en el corazón, en el cuerpo te pasa, ¿no? Sin embargo, son las llaves que abren, y creo que mientras uno tenga claro lo que es y lo que hace, el poder usar llaves para comunicarse con el otro no cambia la esencia de lo que uno hace, ¿no? Y creo que tenemos un desafío como en abrir en esta situación de COVID nuevas puertas, con la empresa privada, con otros ministerios, con otros estamentos públicos, con otras fundaciones. Nosotros mismos con esta corporación Santiago Innova, que es un tremendo buque, y que trabaja de la mano del municipio de Santiago, estamos haciendo un programa con México ahora para estimular la creatividad y la innovación en la primera y segunda infancia de todos los colegios del municipio de Santiago, por ejemplo. Y es a través de los artistas que se hace esto, no a través de otros. Son ellos los que pueden estimular, bueno, a través también de investigadores, ingenieros investigadores que trabajan con innovación o makers o impresiones 3D o ese tipo de cosas. Pero es una mezcla entre los artistas y la creatividad de los artistas y la innovación para la primera y la segunda infancia. Y bueno, por ahora es todo online. Así que eso. No sé si tienen alguna pregunta o comentario.
Yes, if you have any question, just feel free or to write it in the chat or to just make it, because I have been speaking a lot. So feel free to jump in and ask questions.
I also, Christina, I would suggest we break our own protocol, mine and yours, yeah. Because I see here we have Aglaya, who is member, she's the program director of Paideia, the famous Paideia, so we talk so much about her. Her ear is red already.
Us. In fact, grazie, Bebe. Please tell us, because you are speaking about this Paideia, but yes, some of us doesn't know.
And also, her festival is member of a brand new, started last year, network of international children's festivals in Brazil, which is called Fibra. And it's very similar somehow to Chain Reaction. So this is for me also more or less the same day, a little bit before, but it's like a same movement. They are international festivals that get together so they can work together, of course, in the international platforms, but also inside the country. So Aglaya, if you could talk a little bit about Paideia, of course, and about Fibra, which is a new network.
I don't know what language I will speak because my English is not so good, but I will try. Perhaps I will speak Portuguese and in English. Yes, I'm very happy to see so many nice people. Many people was what we know who have been in Paideia, and we meet in festivals. And I think it's very important that we have the possibility, Bebe and Cristina, and all Italian festivals. I saw Tony there. He's coming. We meet last year. Was it? Yes, last year in Italy.
In Naples.
Yes, in Naples, and we are waiting this year. He's played to São Paulo of our festival, Pedro. He's one of the group what we choose, and many others, Omar and so on. But yes, we do a festival until 14 years. 14, and our festival, I think it's different than other festivals, but I don't want to speak. I don't have time now to speak about this so much, but we are this connection with Assitej, with Rede Ibero-Americana, and with Sepúlveda Regional of Brazil. And now until 1 year, we founded together with Phil and with Tik, and there are 8 festivals. I think there are many people of this festival there in this discussion, Bebe. You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. I think Michele and Emilio está. They told me they would come, but you know how it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And we try to discuss in this network. The name is Fibra. We have 8 festivals now, and we try to think what we can do in our festivals, what we can connect it, that because Brazil is very, very big. It's a very, very big country, and it's very difficult to go from one city to the other city. And then we try to connect groups we invite and discuss. I don't know what it's interesting to say now, and so.
Sorry, Aglaia. ¿Cuándo nació este network Fibra?
Esse Fibra nasceu há 1 ano.
Okay.
Há 1 ano.
And do you have a regular meeting like every month, or how does it function, the discussion between you?
Yes, once we have a WhatsApp group, and we speak all days, many things about this. And we have a meeting. We have had. Fizemos encontro no ano passado em Rio de Janeiro com todos os representantes. Só a Daniele Hoover, que é nova nesse grupo de circo, onde discutimos, fizemos encontro com um organizador de festivais inglês, que discutimos como podemos compartilhar, como podemos, sim, trocar todas as questões. E nesse momento estamos discutindo como fazer festival. Quando podemos, quando não podemos. Por exemplo, o Festival de Paideia, junto com Pedro, organizamos para setembro esse ano. Vamos fazer agora, esperamos em dezembro alguma coisa. Vai acontecer, mas não sabemos como ainda. De que tipo de festival vai ser, mas estamos tentando.
I have a question.
Sim.
If you organize the festival for September, now is July. How can you organize something with like 1 month? Because I don't know if in August you go for holiday or what. I mean, because our big challenge is to, for example, my festival, I need, if you take the funding, the fundraising apart, because I need to look for any single euro, okay? That is a long process that of course is not possible to be done now because it's more complex, but I need 6 months to arrange the whole festival. So now my problem is that my festival is in November. Now is July. Normally I have, the program was finished in March. So I need to throw everything in the rubbish and now to do something else. And I am working like crazy because I need to do in 1 month before the end of July, everything, because in September, my festival needs to be ready because I have the national communication, I have the communication to school, but I don't know if school will be there. I don't know what to communicate. So how do you deal with normal schedule? And how is it possible that you now think how to do the festival in September? I'm just asking concrete questions because sometimes we need to have that to see which is the picture that you have, but we don't.
Yes, perhaps you don't understand me. I explain. Eu não me expressei muito bem. O festival vai ser em dezembro. Mudamos para dezembro. In this moment, we don't know what we can do. But Pedro, I saw him now. We say no. We will do this festival this year. We don't know with whom, with which group, if in theaters or in parks or only online, we don't know. But we hope we can do a festival, yes, an international festival this year, we hope.
So I will hear Lost in Translation again. I will explain something. I love these meetings. So normally in Brazil, of course, the year starts in March after.
Normally it doesn't happen in Brazil, baby.
Yeah, and no, normally in Brazil, wait. Normally the year starts in March because it's after Carnival. And the Festival of Paideia is in September. But you would think maybe in November, the year before, they have already all the contracts. It's not exactly like this because we always, so to do a festival in June, yeah, June is good, né, Aglaia? When in June, we know what's happening in September. It's everybody holding in the hands of the other. Don't let go because it's going to happen. And internationally, this is the biggest challenge. You can never give 2 years before Group 38 that he will come to São Paulo for Paideia. Even if you have the money, you cannot give this assurance. So this is something that you say now. It is really, we are used to working in short term, which is terrible, which is much more expensive, of course, which is planning makes no sense. In the end, it's not sustainable to work like this. But this that you're feeling now, Christina, every time that you will collaborate with an artist or a festival in South America or in this global South, remember this feeling and bring some patience because it's really hard. It's a completely different situation. It's very funny that you talk about this now.
No, I mean, it's interesting because it's about, small crashes about diversity and different way of functioning.
Yes.
If you speak with for example, this different time or organizational time, let's call it, okay. For example, if you think to France, they work 2 or 3 years in advance. That means that now they are postponing what they were doing in 2020 to 21, but 21 was already programmed. So they have another problem because now they are dealing with what to do with program of 21, because now should we swap everything to 23rd?
And everything is dated. So this this is not valid anymore.
Really, Christina, this is not a reality in Brazil.
No,
No, I know,
Like-
even in Italy. Even in
like,
Italy. Don't think that in Italy we are like, or in Europe everywhere. I mean, also in Italy we have that. If I can say, the timing, the advanced timing in Italy is like 6 months, an average of 6 months, something like that.
We had the target of making 3 months advantage
Okay.
in the secretary, and it was a huge change.
Okay.
Because even important institutions as SESCI many times give the answer 1 month before.
Okay.
So it's
they
like
are the worst.
yeah, I had an international play that I directed last year that had to open beginning of February. They gave the answer like 1 day before Christmas, and we have like final year vacations in Brazil. So it's like a little more than 1 month, but it was like New Year's Eve, Christmas, holidays. Like I had beside the 1 month and something, all these things. But it's very different. The schedule, we see it. Aglaia suffers a lot, and also Mich, that's the International Festival of Theater in São Paulo.
Oh, yeah.
Many times they suffer a lot because they are in March, and they confirm their support in February, but they had all artists book it 1 year before. I don't know, because they are working with international artists. So that's something that we really need to change in Brazil, because it's very different from the rest of the world.
Yeah, now it is also something that, because our calendar is a lunar calendar, in Chile, they close everything in December, and you apply. What you apply has to be from the beginning of the year. So, estoy diciendo, María, que en Chile también, que los fondos termina el año, se debe postular para el próximo año, and I pay is on the 20 of January. So there is not enough time for all the protocols to get the money. This is a huge problem. Just that the holidays are in different times, and the timing of the budgets. It's very
Afecta la
hard
continuidad de los proyectos, ¿no?
yeah, the continuity of the projects also. It is really challenging, and this is something, the flexibility. I hope now that the strong global north, with all these wonderful structures, they understand what it is to have these structures. Just nothing works anymore. You have to rethink again when you work with. Yeah, in this sense, we are experts.
May I say something about, okay, moving the reflection to another field, after having listened about Brazil, a reflection that is very important for me is that maybe we can do something in long term now, is trying together to change the idea that policy, advocacy have of culture, because what it's clear is, especially in countries in which we have regional autonomy, big differences between every region, every area of the country, in this period and in situations like this, gaps become enormous, become very, very big, and crisis, it seems impossible to struggle to manage. Okay, so maybe one reflection is trying to do something to reduce these differences, because this is a problem in every field, but culture that is not very considerate can suffer very much. And this is a problem we have everywhere, I think. Brazil, but in Italy too, the differences between North and South, I think will become bigger now after the pandemic situation, and also in Europe, in other countries like Italy. So maybe through Assitej, international Assitej, and also other possible instruments, we have to struggle. We have to do something for this. This is the only thing we can do in long term now, in our situation, which we have to do rush, thinking in short term.
I agree totally, Jessica, and I assure you, like Pedro knows this, I'm sure, and Maria too, Inés also is a partner, Inés from TV Assitej is also here. Just the knowledge that it's different already helps. If you know the credibility, if you tell a company for a festival, Meet Festival is one of the most important festivals perhaps in the world for contemporary theater and adult theater. People that want to come to this festival must know they will have the contracts not signed 2 years before. They will have to wait for this confirmation, you know, otherwise the festival will not exist. The same is for Paideia, the same is for Fita Chile in other ways, but it's important to know that it's different. Because the moment that you say, it's not like us, we don't accept. And I have seen in the 15 years that I work between bringing companies and taking companies, it's from us, you know? So this kind of forum and it's intercultural competence. We need to be more competent in the interculturality of our market, of our field. So that's why international work is so, you know, there's so many levels. But just to know and to be aware of the differences, it's just different. Yeah, we start the year in March, you start in September. So that's a difference. That makes a whole difference. Yes, thank you very much for remembering this.
Yeah, those small details can really make the difference when you want to cooperate between different countries. We know very well it, but we never remember how much those details are important.
Christina, I'm sorry. I need to excuse myself because I have my general meeting from the secretary.
In fact,
right now. I just postponed it to the limit, and I'm like, I'm going.
I was about closing because normally we finish at 8. That means in 3 minutes. So, Pedro, thank you. If you need to run away, thanks for being with us. It was really inspiring and giving us a point of view. And we will contact you again because I feel that we need.
Please invite me. I will try to change a little bit the times in Brazil. We were working on that, so that's why I said to Aglaya and Amaury, like, we will do it, like, so that they can be sure of the support, like 8 months before, not 1 month before, and trying to push other institutions to that. So I'm very thankful for everybody. As you have to finish, I will finish and run. And when you wish, I'll be here in the city hall, and also as an artist, I'm very interested in these connections and to build bridges.
Very well.
So thank you all, and sorry for the rush.
Pedro. Thank you.
Bye. We will write you about
Pedro.
the next meeting or next cooperation.
Great, thank you.
Have a nice meeting. Change the war.
Bye, Pedro.
So
we all go to São Paulo now.
Let's go to São Paulo meeting.
And I'm sorry for not being here so lately, but my festival is going actually quite forward. And,
okay, in fact, Patricia, you took the space I wanted to take. I mean, I wanted to ask to everybody if we have just 5 minutes more. If there is one question that is an urgence that you want to share. And also, I have a question for Patricia. That is, I remember that your festival is supposed to be in this period, or things may happen in this period. Can you update us in 3 minutes? No. You muted yourself. You need to be unmuted. And also, sorry, just before that you start, so that the other people, if the other people will go, they know. Next meeting is the 15th of July at 3 o'clock European time zone, and we will be in Porto Sant'Empidio. So we will text the first chain reaction meeting both live and digital, and we will give space to what is happening now. That means, for example, what's going on with the Patricia's Festival and the format they were figuring out, what is happening in other situations that are reopening. So if you want to take 3 minutes, maybe you can tell us more in the next meeting.
Okay, I will be very, very short. I'm first of all sorry for not being present in the latest meetings, but I've been talking a lot about all the things I had said in that moment. We transformed the festival to be something half virtual and half presential. We invited a woman who works with cinema to actually do a film, a movie of the project, of all the difficulties we are having and we are affronting. And this is working quite well. Everybody came into it, and Work Center Grotowski Open Program, Mario Biagini and its group, as well as an extension project of the university in Londrina, who works with communities like the Indians and the Black movement, women movement, liberation, feminists, homeless people. So we decided to do all the festival or the preparation virtually, and we are actually became very forward to it, and we are having meetings almost every day now and putting everybody thinking of how to put up this kind of communication. We have interest now of the government of Paraná, the region of Paraná. Paraná is a state in Brazil, is an state in Brazil. And the woman who is the Secretary of Culture, she's very interested in it because it's something completely new, and we are actually managing to do it. So we decided to do that in December, when it's the the anniversary of Londrina, which is the town where we are going to do that. We are facing the reality that we may not have anybody here and we have to do everything presential, but we are also involving lots of people from Londrina itself with the consulants of these people in Italy, people in America. Our curators are talking to 4 countries in Latin America with 4 groups. So we are also trying to understand how we are going to present them. We are opening a channel online, an online channel, a YouTube channel, whatever. We haven't decided yet. But anyway, I can send it to you here, the project. It's in Portuguese, but it's quite easy to understand, I think.
Okay. Okay, so if you can send it, we can put it in the report. And also if you have time, you can have 10 minutes in the meeting that we will have in Porto Sant'Elpidio, so that we are more fresh and we can better follow your presentation. It was just because I saw you and I was curious and I want to make the link to the next meeting.
Thank you.
So I think that I think that we all agree that we had a really inspiring meeting. Thank you really to our guests and to you all that were with us, and to Aglaia also that told us about this new project, and we discovered Paideia and these keywords of today, that is the language to strengthen and to create alliances. And as one of you said, maybe in a chat, it's interesting also to think that the communication and the alliance that needs to be made by the language has to be in a common point, in a meeting point that has to be in the center, because we have the feeling as artists that we always need to translate us and to go to be understood to someone else. And this touches also one topic that was we were facing in the previous meeting about the cultural differences and how our shows or our productions are reflecting only one part of the world, like the white European picture, and what we can do to create this common language that is made by all this value and other pictures, let me say that way. I mean, you understand. I'm tired, my English is not respecting the complexity of the thoughts I want to share. But I see from your face that we had an empathic moment, and we all took something from this meeting. So I am inviting you to the next meeting. You will receive the information. You will receive the recap that will be really short, but we hope effective, because we don't want to get lost in translation and to add mistakes to the report. So thank you. Have a nice dinner or lunch if you are in lunchtime in your part of the world. Ciao.